Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast that brings you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 239. We're recording this on a Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. The Packers beat down the Bears on their home field this past Sunday in Week 1. Week 2 brings the Pack down to Atlanta to fight the Falcons. What can we expect? Stay tuned. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me on comms tonight is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? How we doing on this Wednesday, September 13th, as we are getting into Week 2 of the NFL season? The Packers are 1-0, which we are pretty thankful for after a beatdown of the Bears. Who's surprised in Packer Universe? Not a lot of us, as the Bears still suck, and the Packers win their 9th straight against the Bears in the LaFleur administration. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. This has been a great few days to just revel in this win by the Packers over the Bears. I mean, really, Ren, I think it's what's more surprising to us, because we didn't really know how the Bears are going to be. We thought they were going to be better. We didn't really know how the Packers were going to come out of the gate. You know, we thought mediocrity, you know, like middle of the road. So when the Bears sucked the way they did, I found that actually more surprising than how good the Packers seem to be coming out of the gate. So, Ren, I feel pretty good about this. This was a solid win by the Packers. Man, the Bears looked terrible. I was kind of reviewing a bunch of stuff since Sunday, and the more and more I watched, it was like an onion, Ren. The more layers I peeled away, the more the Bears stunk. And that's the only thing I kind of am taking away from this is still okay, well, the Packers look good, right? And the Bears looked really bad. So still, my question on the first takeaway, which we had on Sunday night, if you haven't checked that out, go ahead. But my kind of sentiment was I don't know if the Bears are a terrible team. Still, do the Packers have something to prove, or should we temper our expectations? And I think for me, it's still kind of you gotta slow the roll here. But they're doing well. There's a lot of positive things to take away from the game. But this Bears team looks terrible. They look like they're going to be the number 1 pick again, and it's awesome feeling. I'm stoked for this, but revel in this now. We don't know what's gonna happen to the Packers. They're on a great trajectory, but let's just hope that they hang on to that.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, there was a lot of talk in the offseason from Bears fans, and they're ready. And Bears players, I think it was Justin Jones, one of those guys that Joey talked to us about that they acquired in the offseason. He was chirping all the way back in minicamp, wishing Aaron Rodgers was still here, because it's on. They're gonna retake this thing. They're gonna do things to the point where even after the game, Tay, Bears safety and Joey told us about Jaquan Brisker as well. Their safety, who had the most sacks of anybody on the team last year with 4.5, still saying about Jordan Love. He's Jordan Love, number 10, Packers quarterback. He said he's just Jordan Love. He's nothing special. This is how they're still reacting. Justin Jones, he had 0 of 0 of anything in that game. Not a pressure, not a sack, not anything. And they chirped all off season. They're going to be this new thing, this new look. And then the Bears media, after the game, just excuses for Justin Fields all over the place. It's like they don't want to place the blame on him. They want to put it on Luke Getsy. They want to do this. They want to do that. The reality is, Justin Fields, Joey may not want to get married here, Tay, because the guy is just probably not it for the future of the Chicago Bears. He did mention, obviously, they have 2 first-round picks. Which could with a bad record, and those 2 picks could put them in that sweepstakes for the quarterback out of, I believe, USC coming out, projected to be the number 1 quarterback in the NFL draft, a game changer, that their arrow could be pointed there sooner than later as they play for those sweepstakes. While the Packers play to figure out where they're at. Yes, you're 100% right. The report card, like we talked about last week, is very incomplete. You feel good about ourselves, and yes, we revel in all that Bears shit talk. Tay, you can bleep that one out if you want, but all off season how they're changing this whole rivalry. It's back on, but the reality is, nope. The ownership, as we talked about on the first take, still resides in Green Bay of that Chicago franchise. And man, it's got to be tough to be a Bears fan, say. It's really got to be tough. And they could be going, well, like Brisker says, Jordan's just a guy, okay? I don't think he's just a guy. Based on a lot of play we saw on Sunday, Jordan did a heck of a job. Saw a lot of different takes and looks amongst local and national media, him locking on different Bears defenders and then moving the ball a completely different direction. So that is amazing stuff when a quarterback is able to, and should, with 3 years in the system, be able to learn aspects of how to play the game, but look defenses one way and they go a completely different direction, especially with that great Matt LaFleur call with that roll out one direction, that kind of jump screen to Aaron Jones that goes, I think, is that the one on 3rd down that goes down to the 1, or is that the one that goes to the touchdown? But amazing play, good design, just great things by the Packers in that whole game. Tay, it was a really fun watch. But yeah, now it brings us back to reality now as we prepare for another football team. Going, well, is this just another 3-14 Bears team that we beat? We live on it, we feel good about it, but it kind of, after a few days, after we lived on it, we ate off of it. We ate off that carcass that is the Chicago Bears, and we'll probably get to do it again to bookend the season. But how are you feeling? I mean, we still have to temper our expectations, right, Tay?
Absolutely. I mean, we went down there to Chicago and pulled the bear rug out from under their feet, Ren, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're out of the woods. I think we have to just, relax a little bit and kind of just admire that we had a good game. The play calling was great. I think Matt LaFleur and Jordan have a really good connection right now with getting in the plays, knowing what they're doing. Jordan Love was an awesome game manager, and he made some great throws too. So he looked good, right? And besides Jordan, I mean, we knew that a lot of this year was going to rest on other players besides Jordan Love, and it takes the whole team. But everyone looked great, right? The offensive line, I think, was one of the unsung heroes of that
100%.
game.
100%. I love that you bring that up. We did not bring that up in the first take, but keep going with the O-line, Tay.
I mean, it starts there, right? Like, giving Jordan time, that's like 9/10 of this, right? Is giving him time back there, not under pressure, able to go through his routes, his reads, and then to pick where he wants to go with the ball, and then have a comfortable pocket to throw it in. I mean, come on, for any starting quarterback, because that's what he is, right? He's a starting quarterback, a young starting quarterback. That's crucial. Fields didn't have it, right? I mean, and there are still a lot of parallels between Fields and Jordan. They're both starting their careers out. They're young. They're coming into adversity with like the media and the fans, and it's a prove it time for both of them. And man, our offensive line, the rest of the team is setting Jordan up for success. You gotta love it, and it's so encouraging to see that we might have a stud offensive line. I mean, all those pieces are there. We have flexibility with some of the players. You gotta love that. The playmakers, the only thing on the offense that I'm a little bit like, well, that was a underwhelming performance was AJ Dillon. I mean,
oh God, yeah, Tay, that is
right.
That's
You're
the
like,
elephant in the room. He was
is that gonna get better?
Not underwhelming. I mean, I want to say pretty awful, Tay.
Poor, piss poor.
AJ Dillon is not it, Tay. He is not the future. This is his contract year. I don't expect him to be in Green Bay next year, Tay. And we're going to talk about the injury report. And I certainly hope he's not the guy that they rally the running game around Sunday if Aaron Jones is not in the lineup, Tay, because AJ Dillon is probably the biggest disappointment and the biggest problem from the whole offensive standpoint Sunday against the Bears.
Well, and it's not just his running disability. That's the wrong word. Okay, no, scratch that. It's not like he can't get, the runs down, but it's also he's missing those catches, and that was a problem last year. He's got bricks for hands right now. He can't catch a ball out of the backfield. That's a no. We need that. Especially in this offense now where a check down or two to the running back is crucial and necessary. So that's an issue. I know that there are beat writers and reporters out there and Packers media that will say, don't worry about A.J. Dillon, Ren. He's going to come on later as the season progresses. You bring him out to punch that defense in the third and fourth quarter. That's where he'll shine. Don't worry about it. But it worries me that he can't do it now in week one when you have the full off-season, preseason training camp to fine-tune your skills. So what would you say to, hey, Ren, just wait, like cool off a little bit. AJ he's like a fine wine. He's like a fine Door County wine, Ren. He'll get better with age as the season goes on. What do you say to that?
Well, I love Door County. The wines aren't great. I will tell you that. And I love AJ, the mayor of Door County, the person.
Yes.
But I just don't know if he's it, Tay. I really haven't seen enough in the last, year and a half of games that give me any confidence this guy can carry the running game if Aaron Jones isn't out there. I really don't have that feeling. I'm more, hey, if Aaron's not a go Sunday, I want to see Emmanuel Wilson activated on that roster come Sunday to give them a burst, some power in that running game that can truly give you that home run hitter, because AJ Dillon is not a home run hitter.
Can we talk about Wilson?
He can't do that for you.
Ren, like they brought in Taylor from the practice squad, and then they choose to run him in the fourth quarter, but that's just because they don't care about him getting injured. They're like, it's like a fodder, right? Like,
yeah, it was garbage time fodder.
So they're not going to
why you saw Taylor.
So why? So they like Wilson enough to save him from that? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I think they're, having him there because they may need him at some point, and it could come as early as this Sunday at noon in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true.
Or 1 p.m. Eastern time in Atlanta, noon here in Green Bay and Central Time. But I don't know, man. I don't see anything out of AJ Dillon that I like, and I haven't seen it in a while. So it remains to be seen. But I don't have any faith that without Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon can get any kind of running game going for this Packer team that needs to establish some ground control playing any team, in the early parts of this Jordan Love era.
Ground control to Major Tom. Listen, Ren, we didn't talk about it because I don't think it was relevant at the time, but now would you trade Christian Watson for Jonathan Taylor?
No. Again, Yosh Nijman and AJ Dillon, 100%. Let's go. Christian Watson, get out of town, Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, you're not getting that, but sure, you can get these two guys. This guy's in the last year of his contract, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't asking for AJ though.
Right. We'll give you a swing tackle. We'll give you a bruiser running back that can maybe do a little bit for you. And you're going to need another running back. Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, but they're not
all
idiots.
Day long, I make that trade.
They're not
Absolutely.
idiots, Ren. They know Yosh Nijman's on the way out, and they know AJ Dillon's on the way out too. So why would they trade their star running back for that? I know that's never going to happen.
Because a swing tackle, Tay, is an extremely important thing in the NFL, and they can extend him if they want. their choice, they can do that. And it goes a long way. I mean, you brought up the offensive line, and listen, they were a boon to Jordan Love getting things done in this game. I mean, you look at Zach Tom and David Bakhtiari, and you have both those guys on both his sides allowing him the time to do what he wants to do, to find time.
Lockdown.
Right. I mean, you're talking about two guys who had one hell of a game. Obviously, David was, the guy like all over social media with his blowing kisses, doing his George Costanza lay down on the sideline, telling the Bears fans they still own them. Great. But the unheralded guy, Zach Tom, there's nothing to say about him because he played perfect, as did David. But David's obviously, he's a different cat. He's out there. He's razzing the Bear fans, and good for that because we all enjoy it. He's got another meme we could throw out there to Chicago Nation. It's great, but yeah, going back to it, man. I mean, the Colts, they should want a swing tackle because the Packers know how to develop guys, and Josh may need a change of scenery because he's not going to get a lot of time in Green Bay.
My ears perked a little bit when I heard even Christian Watson for Jonathan Taylor. That's all I'm saying. And we don't have to have that discussion now, but it is one that my ears perk up about. I know most of Packer Universe's ears don't perk up with that. They say that's too high, but I might have to go to bat for the disagreement there. But I wanted to switch sides of the ball, Ren, for this Bears game quick. I was watching some football on some guys break down football in the last few days, and the guy that stood out to me that I never heard his name, I don't think, during the game, but he had a major factor was Preston Smith. I mean, that guy was in the backfield a bunch of times, got lots of pressure. We talk about Rashawn Gary a ton, who had a monster game, a lot of pressures, but that whole defensive line and edge rush team just was amazing. And I got to give it to Preston. I mean, the guy is getting up there. You think he's on his way out, and he had a great first game. I love that. The D line again dominated, so that's kind of like the yin and the yang of the Packers team. Both sides in the trenches dominated this Bears game, which gave him the edge, obviously. But Preston Smith, love to see that. Darnell Savage also came into his own again. Hopefully that trend continues. And, those edge rushers are just getting to the quarterback. I love it. And, it's to say you have to lay it down and say the Bears offensive line was absolutely abysmal. They were terrible. So yes, our outside linebackers should have dominated them, and they did. However, you just love to see that as a confidence booster for this defense for getting after the quarterback. And we'll talk about it in a minute, but maybe they're licking their chops over some Falcon QBs.
Yeah, and their Falcon offensive line. We will get there, Tay, but I will echo that sentiment. Obviously, Preston, okay game, but you look at, I think the most snaps from the edge rusher position went to J.J. Kingsley and Egbare, who had a very nice game. But we did not, on the first take, talk about Rashawn Gary. He was on a very limited pitch count. I think 12 snaps is what he got. And on those, Tay, 7 of 12, he had quarterback pressures. I mean, you're talking a pressure rate from a guy, Tay, that is just completely, like Matt LaFleur talked about it, not lost a thing. He's back. There was no downplay. Obviously, they want to kind of get him up to speed, but that kind of pressure rate, Tay, from that guy is out of this world. I mean, it's crazy. You also, as you mentioned, and we talked about on the first take, when I listened to the game and I watched the game, Darnell Savage played his best game in 3, maybe 4 years with the Packers. He was everywhere, solo tackling, just wrapping up open field, being there, being the guy he needs to be. He's got a lot to live up to after that game today. I mean, we all go, oh, we didn't expect that, but we now know you can play that way. So there's going to be that expectation the rest of the season that we know you can play some Darnell and get after it. Rasul Douglas, Tay.
Yeah, everywhere.
just incredible as well in the open field. Lucas Van Ness chasing down Justin Fields,
Yep.
a guy like that running usually can cut the corner. Nope, here's this athletic young kid who can just chase you down and throw you down to the ground as you get to the edge. I mean, what a play by the Van Ness monster, as you coined him all the way back in May when we talked to our friend Robert Domobsky. All fun things, Tay. The defense was just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
they did what they were expected to do. You know, when we've been talking so long about this Barry defense playing better, the true test with this running team or this run defense, as we say, is going to come Sunday, because they're going to face a monster running game with the Atlanta Falcons. But we saw some good performance against a probably not great football team, but they're gonna need to get better, and they're gonna get the test coming up here. What are some other things, Tay, that you saw Sunday that you said, be it offense, be it defense, be it the defense, Tay, that you said, hey, I'm feeling pretty good about that, or I didn't like that so much?
I'm still having weird feelings about the kicking game, Ren. I think the punting game is fine. Like, that's good to go. I'm okay with Wheeling. Let's bring it on. The the place kicker is still getting me, although I have nothing to complain about. The dude made everything 100% on Sunday. So you know, what am I to complain about, right? And so it's just nostalgia, and our man Mason isn't here. He's not getting a call anytime soon. You know, and with the way that they treat Anders Carlson, you know, it could be weeks of missed field goals before they do anything about it. I mean, last year, what's his name? I've even forgotten. The returner that was finally let go. He was like a draft pick.
That would be Amari.
Yeah, Rodgers. They dragged their feet on that for so long until they had to finally make a decision. And so that's to me what's going to happen here if he starts missing field goals, but he's not, so I can't complain. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to jinx it. So that was still good. You know, that going into the half, kicking that 52-yarder was brilliant. Although some of those point afters kind of went left hard and then they hooked right, and you're like, holy crap. But maybe it's going to be a wild ride for the kicking thing. We'll wait and see on that. But otherwise, just a fun game all around. I think they were actually able to play their game, execute their game plan, have the execution across the board, defense, offense. It all took place like how it was supposed to go. Yeah, there were some misses here and there, but generally speaking, execution was on point, and you love to see that. Gain confidence for this young team. This is a new era for the Packers. Not necessarily a new team. I just want to stress that. There's some turnover here, but this team, I think, is generally intact from last year, besides a few pieces, tight end, quarterback, maybe a couple here and there, but I don't know. It's still majority, I think, is the same team. You're just switching quarterbacks. It's a new era, but it's a similar team. So I had kind of expected them to be good, and now with the onset of Jordan Love kind of coming in and holding his own, this could be great. But I just want to temper my expectations again. Let it ride. Have fun with this year. And I guess we'll just we'll see how it turns out, but it's going to be fun. I think I'm ready for some mistakes and to just sit back and go, okay, well, whatever. I'll just roll with it. Not like in past years when if they lost or they played bad, I was angry. I was upset. There was no justification for it because this team was good, right? And I think maybe now's the time to jump into that, because I know, Ren, I know you wanted to talk about it, and we can bring it up now, but the expectations out in New York were gigantic, probably biggest that they've ever been before. The greatest team to ever be in New York. I sound like Donald Trump, right? It's the best team ever. Like there has ever been. It was going to be great. It was going to be awesome. But I guess take us through, Ren, what what you saw, what you felt, and kind of what you're feeling now?
You know, I was definitely looking to tune in Monday night and turned it on about just a couple minutes into the game and flip on the TV and Zach Wilson's in. And I'm like, what? What's going on? Immediately I get on my phone and it was just probably a minute or two must have been after it happened. And I look at the replay of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. And then there starts to come up stuff on the feed on Twitter, aka X, whatever we want to call it these days.
X.
And you've got David Chow, the NFL doctor guru, former doctor for the San Diego / LA Chargers for 15 years. And they're breaking down this play with Aaron Rodgers' heel getting stuck on the ground when he gets taken down to the ground by former Bear, now Buffalo Bill, Leonard Floyd. And you can see it, Tay. And Aaron gets up and he gets up, stands up, and then immediately goes back down. They start kind of looking through these things and talking about Achilles injury. And you could see it move. You could see the muscle reflexation or this piece. And, you know, you see Aaron come out of the tent. Obviously, X-rays are negative, but Achilles are not a X-ray piece. It's an MRI piece. And you see Robert Saleh's face on the sideline. Just he looks like a deer in the headlights. At that point, they probably already knew. Their team doctors probably already knew, Tay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how smart and how this stuff works out. They just obviously aren't going to leak that until the following morning. Although the post game presser, he straight up said, "Yeah, we fear it's an Achilles. We feel terrible," which was him saying, "We know it's an Achilles. We feel terrible." Honestly, 4 plays into his career out there, I will echo Andy Herman. I think he said it really well. I think the trade and everything that was to be was about as amicable as it could have been in the situation for all parties. Aaron was really excited to be out there. We were all really interested to watch it. I think I can speak for most of Packer Universe and say, yeah, we were going to tune in. This thing had the most Monday Night Football views, 22 million. And I don't know, it was in the last 20 years today. So obviously Rodgers turns the dial. He's in a major market. And I was just excited to watch it. And honest to God, Tay, I felt just terrible for the guy. He was so excited. I obviously as Packer fans too, we wanted to see those 65% of the snaps. That's the selfish part. But Aaron Rodgers is part of the NFL and obviously a huge part of the Green Bay Packers. Probably arguably one of the best Packers, if not the best Packer in Packer history. And you're just rooting for the guy to go out and compete and play well and have a shot at his new thing while the Packers are also doing their same thing with their new thing. It was a very amicable separation. I felt terrible and I feel terrible today that happened. That's unfortunate. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers will ever play again in the NFL. And to wonder that is unfortunate. I did see, he did come out with a statement today, like he will rise again, and he's not going to let that set him back, but rise again. Yes.
Rise.
I literally had that same thing come to my head, that same Star Wars quotation, the rise piece. But I just couldn't help but feel bad for the entire situation all around. It's terrible for him. You don't wish that on anybody. And I have no ill will toward Aaron Rodgers. I was wishing him the best and success out there. Obviously not 100% success, so the Packers got a good first-round pick, but that part is over with. We know the Packers now will have a second-round pick, and so be it. But it's a terrible thing for Aaron and the entire NFL and the whole football community. I just, what a terrible thing. And I know David Bakhtiari is really upset with regard to the field turf piece versus grass. And grass does sometimes allow your leg to pull away in those situations. In this situation on turf, you're kind of stuck, and you can see it get stuck, and then you can see again that kind of reverberation up his left leg where that thing pops. Some of that can be age too related. There's a lot of different factors. This is a young man's game in the NFL, but I don't know. I really felt terrible watching it. Honestly, like I was kind of depressed. I was like, man, that's awful. And unfortunate because again, he was feeling like I can go out here and cut my teeth on something new. And yeah, by every outsider from all the hard knock stuff to everything else, he's having a great time just trying to create a new venture for himself out there. And you can't blame anybody for that. The Packers traded him and he should have been excited about that opportunity. And unfortunately, extremely unfortunate that it ended, 4 snaps into that.
Mm-hmm.
And we wonder, and we'll have to wonder, again, will Aaron Rodgers, it's a really hard injury to come back from. And then you break down the age piece. Will he truly ever play in the NFL again?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It's disappointing. It's super sad. The whole situation. I just can't believe it still that this has happened. I mean, the trade from Green Bay to New York, the hype, the lead up to that. We wanted him to do well. And obviously from a Packers organization standpoint, the 65% snaps would have been great, but that's not necessarily, the whole picture. I mean, I liked Aaron. He was one of the best Packers to play, and I wanted to see him be successful because really it's like, who cares if we'd have to meet them in the Super Bowl, Ren, really is what it would boil down to. So it's like, okay, do your best, go out there and have fun. Am I, kind of glad it's over with? Yes, absolutely. That whole Aaron thing, we've talked about it to death, but I'm glad that's over. But I wanted to see him succeed out there and have some fun. I turned it on to watch this game. My wife was in the room and she kind of busted me laughing at the first 3 plays, I think it was, because they weren't doing well. It was bad.
The offensive line is really
so
bad.
I was kind of like, I think I was like, unconsciously like giggling, like, oh, look at that, he's getting pressure, like, and she's like, what are you doing? And like, are you rooting against him? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, maybe I think it's kind of funny that he was getting pressure. Like I don't know, maybe he's holding the ball too long again. And I had all these feelings and stuff, but I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just watch this and have fun with this. Next play, he goes down, and I cannot believe it. Insane. So I feel terrible for New York Jets fans. It's got to be this super roller coaster of emotions, and you end up back where you started, basically. So it's a shame all around. I think, I would love to see the momentum for grass fields take off here. I hope maybe this gets attention to the NFL. I don't think they're going to change anytime soon, but I'm a purist. They should play on grass any chance they get. I know we've had issues down in Soldier Field with grass, but maybe that's a precedent or some sort of regulations that you implement onto fields. I don't know what they do with domes, but if this moves the needle, I guess that's the only silver lining here. But yeah, it's just it stinks, and I don't think Aaron's playing again. I think this is it. I don't see him coming back. And you're a year removed again from for this New York Jets team. Maybe Zach Wilson can salvage something this year and take him in a positive direction. Maybe this is what he needed. He needed to not have the pressure and then have the pressure back on. Who knows? But I don't see Aaron coming back. I think this is it, and it's unfortunate. And I wanted to see what he could do. Everyone did, and we won't get that chance. So it's unfortunate and sad, and maybe he will rise again, but I don't think he's rising to play football, unfortunately.
Well, I wish him the best. I wish him speedy recovery. I know it's going to be a long road back. Listen, he's a competitor. We know that. He once upon a time against the Chicago Bears, walked out of a tunnel where I went back to the car and listened to it on the radio in the second half. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Aaron Rodgers is good for the NFL, man, and every other quarterback for the last 20 years that was amazing is gone, and it's really unfortunate again that he's not going to get that opportunity this year. And hey, if there's a guy who's willing to press and come back, it's certainly him. It's just a wonder if the Jets will be there with regard to that. Obviously, they have essentially a 3-year contract there with him. So if he puts himself in that position, certainly we could see him again, potentially week 1 next year with the New York Jets.
All right, Ren, let's move on to week 2 for the Packers. They go down to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. And, wow, I don't know. I know you have some stuff on them. The Falcons are kind of like this team to me that is a little like obscure, unknown to me. I don't pay attention to the Atlanta Falcons too often, too much, right? Especially since Matty Ice left and Julio Jones was there. It's like I honestly haven't kept up with the who's the owner? Is that like Arthur or something like that?
Arthur Blank, but also
the Blanks and the Arthurs, the new head coach,
Arthur Smith, yeah.
Right? Who's like an old coach mate of Matt LaFleur.
That's correct. They both coached in Tennessee together. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like this Atlanta Falcons team to me is a bit of an unknown. I know they're young. I know that they're in transition, so to speak, and I know that we have a chance. So enlighten me, Ren, enlighten the universe, and then talk to me about their new uniforms.
Well, let's first delighten Tay here with the first injury report of the week, which is always on a Wednesday, and we're talking here on a Wednesday. And that involves a host of very important cogs for the Green Bay Packers that did not practice today. One of the biggest, personally, Aaron Jones.
Because he's on your fantasy team. Is that right, Ren?
He is on my fantasy team, but I give literally 2 cents about my fantasy team, say, when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are more important to me. Like Aaron Jones, we saw what he did, and he is monumentally important to this young Jordan Love offense to get this thing going. We wondered, I think, a little bit against the Bears in quarter 1 and quarter 2 why he was being underutilized and where we were seeing too much ineffective A.J. Dillon. Why he wasn't out there, and suddenly in the second half they, break out the Aaron Jones, and he is phenomenal. So that is not a good thing at all, Tay, coming up this Sunday at noon in Atlanta.
He said though that he was feeling pretty good even during the game afterwards. I think they're downplaying this. I think he's going to be fine. I think he plays.
We'll see. I mean, Matt gave the whole, we're going to give him all week to see if he's ready for Sunday. Well, they did that also with Christian Watson last week, and then they scratched him by Friday. So I don't know. We'll kind of see as this goes on if he hits a practice field anytime over the next few days. I certainly think it's a huge concern based on the aforementioned A.J. Dillon, the pieces we talked about him and his ineffectiveness. If he's not ready to go, I certainly hope that Emmanuel Wilson is in the starting lineup. It's easier to bring guys up and down from the practice squad. Don't make Patrick Taylor and A.J. Dillon be your guys. They're not going to be effective getting you that run game going. It's not going to work. So give it to the kid who certainly showed you that he's got some burst in the preseason. Don't do that to us, Green Bay. Don't under or overthink that. Just do what you know is right. But then obviously you're still talking about Quay Walker and the concussion protocol. Christian Watson still not available. These are some really big concerns, Tay, with some big hitters. If you want to go out and play a team that is, like you mentioned, a lot of question marks. We don't know the Falcons well. This is a very young football team. We obviously talked about the connectivity a little bit there with Matt LaFleur and Arthur Smith. There's a guy also who is the passing game coordinator and assistant head coach named Jerry Gray. Tay, I think you're familiar with said name.
Yeah.
A guy that you and I talked about last year, like, hey, when they're considering letting Joe Barry go last season, late season, you and I were like, I know one of my guys, I was like, why not just let Jerry go with it? We know that the defensive backfield room loved him, loved this guy, Tay. We know at one point there's a press conference where he's being asked about Joe Barry's system, and he basically didn't say anything positive about Joe, but just deferred. Like, well, this is Joe's defense, and Joe's going to do what he's going to do. I'm just here, essentially, is what he said. It was not a rousing, hey, I believe in this guy kind of comment, and then he moves on in the offseason. He knows a hell of a lot about the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, the offense, Matt LaFleur, everybody involved in that football team. He knows them really, really well, Tay. So that's one of those things there. The Packers, actually, Tay, you want to guess the line in this game?
It's down there, so they get 3. I don't think that Vegas thinks that the Falcons are any good, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna do like what 2.5? No, 2.5 for the Packers.
It's 1.5 for the Packers, Tay. So you're one off as a favorite on the road against the Falcons. Surprisingly, I'm surprised. The Falcon defense, Tay, is really interesting. So the Packers on Sunday ran a lot of stunts, just meaning your edge rushers, your D line, they're moving guys around and then coming at the Bears O-line and fields in a lot of different ways. Well, the Falcons do that and then some. They run a lot of exotic looks. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Packers offensive line and Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, they all game plan and handle that. They have a very interesting piece there with regard to that. Their biggest offseason acquisition was Jesse Bates at safety. He was drafted in 2018 by the Bengals out of Wake Forest. He was a one-man wrecking crew, Tay. Basically, let's see what Bates ended up doing. I think he had a couple sacks, a couple pressures on the field on Sunday in their win against Carolina. He was just all over the place. Just going
2
crazy,
interceptions.
Man.
He had
two interceptions,
5 solo tackles.
Yeah, I mean, just an
5
incredible
assists,
player.
10 total that day.
Yeah, that afternoon. Yeah, I mean, Jesse Bates he's the real deal at safety. Like we all are wondering what a safety looks like here in Green Bay. We're gonna watch on Sunday. This is what a all-star caliber safety looks like. This guy. So Jordan's gonna have his stuff cut out for him when they're throwing all these different looks at him, and you've got a guy out there just kind of manning the middle of the field, ready to take advantage of that. And listen, their defense is young, but they take advantage, Tay. But where the Packers are going to have some opportunities, obviously, is with Ritter as the young quarterback. He's kind of, with the way they even seem to play him, Tay, is a below game manager. Basically, hand the ball off, throw some screen passes. He's not trusted to throw the ball. Took him till the fourth quarter to get above the 100-yard pass mark last week. He was sacked 4 times, pressured all game long, just missing guys flat out. We know they have some talented pass catchers there in Kyle Pitts and Drake London. But Drake London, I think, got 1 target in that game today, 0 catches. Pitts didn't do a heck of a lot either. Speaking about guys on my fantasy team today. But with that said, the other piece with this team, the big piece that gets them going on offense isn't the quarterback, clearly, but it's the running back room. They drafted arguably the best running back in the draft in Bijan Robinson. He did what he needed to do, but their second year pro, Tay, Tyler. You could tell me the last name, Algier.
I think it's Algier.
Algier. Thank you for that one, Tay. I sound like an old dude.
I thought we like swap roles for a minute there.
Yeah, no kidding, Tay. Say that 3 times fast. I don't know if I'd get it right any of those times, but 15 carries, 75 yards, 2 scores on the ground. But Bijan obviously is just an incredible talent. They only gave him the ball 10 times for 56 yards. They also had 6 receptions for 27 more. That's where their offense is gonna go. Obviously, they're not going to trust Ritter to throw the football. He can't do a lot. Their offensive line had some big problems with Jalen Mayfield and Caleb McGarry with the Falcons, leading to a lot of these pass blocking issues. So the Packer D-line and that edge rushing room that we've talked about that certainly has a plethora of guys that can bring it. That's where they're going to need to get after them and just have those inside linebackers play well enough along with some cornerback and safety help to get up and close that running game out. That's what they're going to have to do because the Falcons cannot move the ball deep down the field. Ritter is not accurate. He's not going to have enough time. They're just really going to look to that short passing game and that run game to score them points. And if you can take that away, they could be in really good shape, or you could be in a game where we don't quite know what the Packers are yet, but this is a real low score, somewhere in that 17-10 kind of football game where they're just beating the hell of each other with regard to these offensive defensive lines throughout the course of the football game.
I don't know, Ren. I mean, like I said before, I don't know a ton about the Falcons, but what I do know, what I see is the Packers' first priority and second priority is going to be stop the run game. And I think if they do that, they've got this shut down. I don't think Ritter's going to be able to do anything with that. Even though Arthur Smith would say to the public and the media, yeah, we're going to try to get London, and Pitts the ball more. It's not happening. That's just smoke and mirrors. They're going to run this ball until they have confidence in Ritter or Ritter can prove himself. Maybe they even put Heineke in, the backup quarterback who has had more experience, and maybe he can get the job done. But they have a couple pass catchers here and there to do that could do well if they maybe had better quarterback play. So I don't know, but yeah. Running game for them is their bread and butter, is what they're going to do. And this will be a good test for the Packers front defensive line to see if they can stop that. I think the Packers should take care of business down in Atlanta. I don't think there should be any super big surprises here. I think the Packers find a way to get all their playmakers the ball. I think Jordan Love spreads the ball around. I'm looking to see even if Aaron Jones is out, I think they still get it done on the ground. I think AJ Dillon has a bounce back game if he's the guy. I know. I think it's gonna happen. I think you're just hold on, Ren. I think AJ still got it. I think he's just got to get his confidence back a little bit. But this might be the game to do it. It's like Bijan versus AJ type of game. But I'm going to predict 28-17 Packers win.
Wow, that's a lot of points, Tay. And this one, I think it's the way that the Falcons playing defense and what they bring to the table with these exotic looks and Jerry Gray knowing the Packers very well. I'm going to say this is going to be a weird one, Tay. I'm going to go 19-13 Packers. But it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a dogfight.
Okay.
One place Jordan's gonna have a little bit of a struggle, obviously having less of what he needs there, as now the first time starter. just trying to get his feet under him. So that's tough. You going to a game potentially without, your biggest guy to rely on, and that is Aaron Jones in this offense at this point in time for Jordan. He was excellent Sunday against the Bears on 3rd and 4th down. He, in some of those smaller, intermediate 1st down, 2nd down, where it wasn't as necessary, he missed some easy things, but on the hard things, he did it really, really well. So, we just hope that they're going to have just enough to squeak one out down in the Dome in Atlanta come Sunday afternoon.
Okay. I think the Packers are a young team. I think they know their role. I think they know what they need to do. I think execution this year is going to be better than in years past. I feel like as a unit, as a whole, this team will get better at doing their jobs. So I think that equates to good production, good looks by the Packers, and I think it's going to help them, I think, win games like this, where it's a bit of an unknown, but really they should go down there and beat this Atlanta Falcons team, who are going to be in their 90s throwback uniforms with the red helmet, which I think looks pretty dope. It's one of these teams, Ren, to me, that should just adopt this uniform. I know you might like the black, but I think the red's pretty slick.
I do too. I do like the old throwback red. This gives us some 90s feels. You and I being 90s kids. I like it a lot. I don't like their new blocky Atlanta ATL on the front jerseys. Looks pretty terrible. I don't know why they came out with those new looks like 2 years ago. Bad look for the Falcons from a aesthetic piece. Just go back to what looks good. Either the classic black helmet with the classic unis back in the early 2000s, or let's go 90s as they will this weekend. And give us some feels when the Falcons sucked back in the 90s for all those years, outside of maybe one when they played the Vikings for the NFC Championship game one year.
Yeah.
But I would be remiss. I think I forgot to mention today that Cordarrelle Patterson did not play last week, but will be available this week. And you got to expect a few more kind of gadget plays on offense with this guy available as well. He's wrecked the NFL for a number of years. Playing, I think they gave him his position a new name this year just because he's, that special, that can do a lot of things from a lot of different areas on the offensive football field. So that'll add another wrinkle the Packers will have to be prepared for. So let's see how well, again, these off-ball linebackers and cornerbacks and safeties are ready to come up and fill that stuff when, somebody's getting some kind of weird, wrinkle on a jet sweep, or, who knows what they're going to pull out of their bag, but it's certainly going to be an interesting game against an uncommon opponent. The Packers have not won in Atlanta the last 3 tries, possibly back to that 2010 playoff season, which led to the Super Bowl. That might have been the Packers' last win down there.
We will see. But I think we've worn out our welcome with Father Time here, Ren, so let's get it moving on. Any last thoughts? Any last things to say before we head out?
No, I'm good, Tay. I'm again nervous. I'll be nervous week to week until I start to get a feel of what this thing is like with the new Jordan Love era.
Okay, all right. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I seem to have a little more confidence than you do right now, but I'm still not expecting the world here. I'm just expecting them to kind of do their jobs and take care of business. And my confidence is a little boosted since last week, but maybe they get tempered now in Atlanta. Who knows? But I'm going to enjoy it nonetheless. We appreciate everyone listening. We appreciate everyone listening. So thanks again, and support us how you can. And we will be back here next week.
Until episode 240, Tay, on the Pup Wheels.